Are you ready for an outrageous adventure? Hey gamers, I'm Kwing and welcome to another LEGO Batman 3 character video spotlight. Today is all about the King of Atlantis, the man who talks to fish and has no friends, Aquaman. So this minifigure is based on the new 52 and he can dive in the water and spray stuff with water. That's it. No super strength or using mind powers at all, which is a shame because, he'd work really well with controlling people's minds. The character can be found on Odom after finishing the quest Croc My Heart. Did you know that Aquaman got his start attacking Nazi U-boats in 1941? Well, he did! Outrageous! Also, his powers were very different than today. He could hold his breath underwater for only a max of 10 minutes. He had no telepathy powers or super strength. His only power was speaking in various fish native tongues. Strange, huh? During the Silver Age, the character gets a sidekick named Aw-Qward, obviously, weds Maria, his girlfriend, and earns his own rogues gallery too. Like Black Manta, this guy with a big fishbowl on his head that's black, and his arch nemesis known as Ocean Master, or Orm. In 1960, he also joins the Justice League. Yep, Aquaman was one of the first ever members. Arthur was even a founder for the group long before Batman or Superman came into the picture. In fact, Aquaman would later lead the Justice League during an alien invasion, and much of the League either couldn't be reached or they were out of action. What an adventure that was! There was Aquaman, surrounded by many creepy beings from another world. He shouted to action and repelled the aliens single-handedly. At least that's probably how Arthur tells it. Of course, Martian Manhunter, Zatanna, and many others like Green Arrow helped too. Aquaman did create new requirements to join the Justice League though, rules that Batman later would enforce. So yeah, pre-Crisis Aquaman was pretty cool. After the Crisis though, Aquaman wore a blue costume and went through some very odd events. Then by 1989, he had his origin retold completely. Aquaman is actually born to Queen Atlantia under the name Orin. He was actually left on Mercy Reef to die due to his blonde hair because Atlantis people are superstitious about, different color hair. Luckily, the baby was saved and raised by a lighthouse keeper named Arthur Curry, who actually named the boy after himself, hence Arthur Curry's name. Aquaman comes home to find his adopted dad gone, though, and leaves home and meets an island girl, and they have a son, I think. Orin is then captured and brought to the sunken city of Atlantis. There he learns the language of his people and that he's supposed to be their king, so he escapes prison. By the way, the classic Aquaman costume of orange and green is actually an Atlantean prison uniform. I know, right? Anyway, he escapes back to the surface and becomes a superhero. Once he returns to Atlantis though, he meets Mera, becomes king, and gets married. The 90s Aquaman story gets very weird though. Mera and Aquaman have a baby who dies. Mera goes crazy with grief, gets locked up for being insane, and tries to kill her husband when she gets out. She then escapes with aliens or something to another dimension. I'm still not really sure about that. Also, Black Manta tries to destroy Atlantis and then blames the surface, almost leading us to World War III. Well, I mean, DC Comics people, not that we live in comics. Aquaman leaves Atlantis to become a brooding superhero in his underwater Batcave and gets a really thick beard. Aqualad, now called Tempest, finds him and tries to help his old mentor, get over all the stuff that happened. His wife leaving him, or trying to kill him, and then leave, and then his kingdom falling apart and all his friends betraying him. So Aquaman comes out of his cave, and then, not long after this, he loses his hand in battle. I mean, come on! This happens during a fight with some bad guy who steals Arthur's mind control powers for a second. And the guy summons some piranha to play with Arthur's left hand. That's it. So yeah, you could say it was a chew toy. After this encounter, Aquaman becomes a crazy man, and rightly so. After attaching a harpoon for a hand, which was sick, Aquaman has his shirt destroyed during a battle with Lobo, and then decides, you know what, I'm gonna dress like a gladiator and never wear shirts again. The shirtless wonder then gets his wife back, sane, mostly, and rejoins the Justice League for a time. Though his son from the surface tries to take his birthright in a coup against Atlantis, and almost succeeds. Shortly after, in 2002, we have a 10-issue arc of the Justice League where Aquaman goes missing and the Justice League members die. In a crazy story of time travel and zombies. So check out the series Obsidian Age, at least I think that's how you say it, for more details. So Nightwing actually proves to be a better leader of the League than even Batman. Foreshadowing DC? I like to think so. Anyway, in a new miniseries, Aquaman is blamed again and marked for death by his people. He escapes and meets the Lady of the Lake from King Arthur lore and gets a cool magic water hand that can transform and do all kinds of magic and stuff. It's a pretty cool hand if you think about it. Aquaman then helps the city of Sub Diego, which was part of San Diego, that fell into the ocean during some type of event. I don't know. They never explained how the people could breathe underwater either. Aquaman's just like, hey, these normal people somehow are able to breathe underwater now. Okay, I guess I'll protect them. Still, we get to see how strong Arthur really is when he picks up a skyscraper underwater, like it's nothing. Anyway, Atlantis gets destroyed during Final Crisis because the Spectre ain't happy anymore. Plus, I mean, a lot of bad stuff has happened because of Atlantis, so, I mean, it's gotta go sometime, right? Also, Aquaman's land son, who tried to take over Atlantis, dies. Some stuff happens, and Arthur gets magical powers again, and then becomes an old mutated man person. Though Batman knows he's still, Aquaman. Mira has no clue, though. Some wifey, right? In her defense, though, he looks like an unshaven, weak, mutated old dude. But the bad guys somehow know that the mutated old man is still Orin, and they murder him. I mean, this is mostly because Aquaman, or now mutated man, can't really defend himself anymore, even knows, hey, I used to be this handsome, super-powered, metahuman guy. Nope, I'm dead. Just so you guys and gals know, too, there was a second Aquaman that was around during the time the original Aquaman became a mutated freak. His name was Arthur Joseph Curry, and as far as I know, he had no relation to Aquaman whatsoever. He came out during the Sword of Atlantis series, and he looked very similar to the original Aquaman, except he was completely different personality-wise. He did become a member of the League, but I really don't want to talk about him, because he kind of is a coward and leaves when Darkseid comes to the Earth, so yeah, he's not really a good replacement. So how did this all happen? Well, Orin summoned the sea gods and begged them to save Sub Diego because the people were slowly losing their ability to breathe underwater, and he didn't have the strength or ability to lift the city out of the water. So then they gave him the power to do this stuff, and he became Moses, essentially, saving everyone, but at a price. Aquaman comes back as a ghost warrior, though, during Final Crisis, and manages to save Atlantis from Darkseid, or what's left from it. But Hal Jordan and Barry Allen tell Mira that it was actually a different Aquaman that saved her and her people, because the Aquaman that they saw was like a passing shade or some guy from the multiverse, or just a ghost. Though, in Mira's defense, Aquaman does come back to life as a Black Lantern zombie and eats his former sidekick, Tempest. Which, if people liked Aqualad, I mean, it's kind of poetic that he get eaten by his mentor, or a dolphin, or his ex-girlfriend, I don't know. But anyway, by the end of Blackest Night, or whatever, Arthur, Aquaman, comes back to life thanks to the white entity, like the White Lantern thing, and even gets his hand back, which they really had to tell people. He's like, I'm back to life, and my hand is here too. Life is good. Though some more strange stuff happens after that. Once he's alive again, he's questioning, why am I alive? But then says, hey honey, why don't we go to a romantic trip? And, he takes his wife to some island. There he learns that he can summon and speak to only dead sea life, which is a side effect of being dead, I guess? Or a zombie lantern? I don't know. Also, that a new rebellion is coming, and Mira was supposed to kill him long ago, but fell in love with the king. That's how love works, folks. Sometimes it just, you're supposed to assassinate the person you're supposed to be with, but you end up falling in love and having babies. And that's what happened in Mira's case. So during a fight with Mira's sister, who's out to kill Arthur because her sister failed, the White Lantern transforms Arthur yet again, this time into like glistening white water that kind of looks like Swamp Thing. See, Aquaman just can't catch a break in DC. It's like they don't know how to write him. It's like, how are we supposed to do Aquaman? He's a guy who can talk to fish. I know, let's turn him into a water Swamp Thing. Brilliant! So that's what they do. Before the New 52 relaunch, Aquaman actually becomes human again and lives happily ever after with his wife, and then Flashpoint happens, and everything changes. Here, Aquaman is Wonder Woman's secret lover until she kills his wife Mira in like a battle to see who gets to be with, the macho Atlantean guy. Then Atlantis and Themyscira go to war because of, Aquaman and Wonder Woman hating each other now, causing the entire world to collapse, creating a war to end all wars, and, it's messy. Eventually, Aquaman is killed by Flashpoint Wonder Woman, and shortly before the world is destroyed by various nukes, she cradles him in her arms and then goes boom. And of course, you know what happens. Flash goes and delivers the letter to Bruce, and we're in the New 52. So New 52, Orin's origin is pretty much the same as it's always been. He's half Atlantean, half human. and they actually make him a little bit weaker this time in terms of his strength and things like that. The biggest story arc that I can remember from the New 52 the past couple years was the Throne of Atlantis, which actually is an upcoming movie this year for DC animated films. Basically what happens is a Navy warship in the book ticks off the people of Atlantis, and they declare war on the surface world. In the Justice League War movie that we saw, Darkseid and his parademons are what upset the people of Atlantis, and now they want to declare war on the surface world, which you'll see in the movie. Now, while the character is considered a joke by many, Aquaman is actually a pretty powerful super metahuman guy. He has super strength, can use magic, telepathic abilities, can breathe underwater, he's a brilliant tactician. He is not a dude you want to call a sissy in one of those sailor places either. In other media, Aquaman has appeared as a brooding Hook wannabe in Bruce Timm's Justice League, and a macho Errol Flynn character for Batman Brave and the Bold. And even though I thought Orin was so cool in Justice League, Brave and the Bold was truly outrageous and wins. He was powerful, funny, and would tell stories and break in a song randomly. I love that. Part of the reason that my wife and I really got into Batman Brave and the Bold was because Aquaman. He was just so awesome. One of the episodes that really made us like Orin a lot is when he's taking his family on a trip to the surface world in one of those RVs. Him and Mira driving reminded me so much of my wife co-navigating when we go on trips. Except, he's super powerful and stops to beat up people once in a while, so it was really funny. Seriously, you gotta go see as many clips or episodes of Batman Brave and the Bold Aquaman as you can. He is a riot. And well, that concludes another gameplay video for LEGO Batman 3. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more daily LEGO Batman 3 goodness. Hope you guys had fun and are enjoying your New Year's. Feel free to suggest a DC character in the comments below. Well, have a fantastic rest of your day, and until we meet again, God bless and happy gaming. See ya!